Hey guys, how you getting on? Welcome to the video. So coming at you today with a full upper body workout with a client and a good friend of mine, Hugh O'Reilly. His Instagram is at Hugh's Frames if you want to go check him out. So first movement of the day was an incline dumbbell press. I think it was 4 sets of about 6 to 8 reps. Starting off quite heavy, and if we needed to, we dropped off the weight and kind of increased the reps towards 8. So we started off as heavy as I could. I was going for the 6 reps and I got it with about 30 to 32 and a half kilos. And as we went on, I kind of dropped the weight and increased the reps to get to the 8. Okay. So what I want to focus on in this little clip here is what my forearms are doing. Okay, so you want to think about in any kind of pressing movement, you want your wrists and elbows to be in a straight line, so they're kind of stacked. That's going to allow you to produce a lot more force, and you'll be able to see that even in a much better kind of angle after this next rep here. Okay, so have a look at my forearms here. Okay, they're relatively straight. They're kind of perpendicular to the floor, parallel to each other. That just means that your biceps and triceps are doing very minimal work. What do I mean by that? Basically, if you want to think that diagonal line of your forearms kind of going inwards, towards, so the hands are kind of going towards each other, your triceps are going to play a much bigger role in stabilizing the dumbbells, and then vice versa. If your arms are too far out, your biceps are going to play a big role in kind of making sure that your dumbbells don't fall off to the side. When they're kind of in a straight line, my biceps and triceps are doing very minimal work to keep the dumbbell stable, so I can place a lot more load on my chest and on my shoulders. Next up, I had a cable low row, and one thing I really want to focus on here is how important it is not to force range. Okay, with any kind of rowing movement, you basically want to think about getting the back of your arm, your shoulders and your scapula as tucked back as you can in order to fully shorten as much as we can the lat, the rhomboids, all the musculature of your back. Okay, what happens when we force range, what tends to happen is we pull our elbows back too far, and what happens then is that we actually come into a range that's so deep with our elbows that our scapula kind of protracts, meaning that our lats actually aren't coming to as shortened a position as we can. So it's not all about elbows back. That's just a little cue to kind of get more of a squeeze. But when your shoulders aren't squeezed back as hard as they can be, and if they come loose, you're going to lose a lot of tension on your lats and the general kind of musculature of your back. So don't feel like you need to force any range whatsoever. Bring your elbows back and your shoulders squeeze as much as you can, and don't go any further back to that point where you can kind of see there. Now, I really love this machine because it effectively did what bands would do otherwise. If you know me, you know I love bands. So in any kind of pressing movement, the more we press, the higher up we get, the stronger we are. And what this machine allows us to do, it allows us to kind of overload where we're stronger, so we can have more even resistance profile throughout the whole movement. So you'll see there's 3 stations to kind of load weight onto. The top station, it would be more focused on that bottom position where I'm strongest, and then as I go up, I add a lot more weight. We see in that bottom kind of where I add more weight, it's actually about twice the amount of weight. That just means that where I'm getting stronger, I can then overload the muscles, and where I would be weaker, it's not as heavy. So basically the resistance profile throughout the whole movement is really, really equal. So this gym had a load of mag grips, and I've never actually used them in person or seen them before, so I figured I'd give them a go. So mag grips, in terms of the feel, I felt it really well on my back because basically I was able to hold somewhat of a supinated grip, more like a neutral supinated grip, which meant that, you know, if you were to supinate your grip on a straight bar, it feels a bit uncomfortable and you can't really hold it the whole time, whereas with a pronated grip, because you're kind of externally rotating the arm, you don't get as much of a squeeze. So with this neutral grip, I found that I was able to get a really good connection with my back. However, because personally I have very chubby fingers and my hands are quite small, I found it very hard to grip the grips themselves, meaning my forearms came to play a good bit. So if you have long fingers, it's a good piece of equipment. If you have chubby fingers like me, grip wise, you're better off using a straight bar or a different kind of bar with your straps. So we then came on to a little bit of arm work. We start off with a dumbbell seated bicep curl. The reason we go seated is to minimize the amount of momentum we use. When we stand and the weight feels a little bit harder, we tend to kind of jump our feet or kind of jump the knees and kind of swing the weight up, and then it slowly come down. Whereas when we're seated, we kind of can't do that at all. So it means we're purely working the biceps here. A few tips here: squeeze the shoulders back nice and tight, and that's going to keep the elbows locked in place. The only thing we want to see here is rotation, like flexion and extension at the elbow joint. At the top, squeeze as hard as you can. Think about getting your kind of wrist towards your shoulder, and then really slowly come down near full extension. Not full extension because you lose a good bit of tension in that bottom position, but just shy of that full extension. We then supersetted that with the tricep movement. So my go-to tricep extension is my 2-rope extension. However, there's only 1 rope in the gym, so we kind of MacGyvered our way to using 2 ropes. So if you see there, My wrist straps, they double up really nicely as extended ropes. So if you ever find that in your gym, you want to use 2 ropes to get a much better feel in your tricep extensions, but you don't have the 2 ropes available, here's a good alternative. So get a pair of straps. You're going to use them anyway in kind of pull movements anyway, so it's going to be beneficial for both kinds of movements. And then attach them so the bit that goes around your wrists goes around the rope. Grab the bottom of the straps and then start extending. Keep your elbows locked in place, kind of like with your bicep curls. Don't let your shoulders move out of that squeeze position, that kind of retracted state. That's going to keep your elbows in that position and make sure that we're purely extending and flexing at the elbow joint. Final movement was a seated kettlebell lateral raise, and the reason we're doing it seated like the bicep curls is for that stability. Make sure we don't start swinging if the weight starts to feel heavy, so we're purely using our lateral head of our delts. Okay, kettlebells, just because the dumbbells didn't quite go down to 4 kilos, we're going nice and slow. I'm not afraid to say I'm using 4 kilos. I'm more focused on kind of controlling the movement, and if I was using 5 or 6 kilos, for the amount of reps we were doing, I just wouldn't be able to do it. So I was stuck with 4 kilos, I was slow, I was controlled, and I controlled every single rep of each set, and that's what you should really aim for here. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you felt like you took anything beneficial from this, let me know. Follow me on Instagram at Coach by Dan, or email me at danreesepersonaltraining@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.